Hello and welcome to a very special episode of How Mundane. And if you're as old as I am, or you grew up watching 80s and 90s TV, you know what a very special episode means. That means it's time to deal with a serious subject. And today's serious subject is counterfeit Pokemon cards. So, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you may remember some posts from middle of last year where I talked about a couple of deals I did that ended up being counterfeit cards. And as it so happens, as everything finally shook out with one of those deals, did get my full refund through my credit card company, and they told me since the goods were counterfeit and since even they couldn't get a hold of the seller, to just keep the cards and do whatever I want with them. So whatever I want is going to be helping you learn to spot counterfeit cards on your own, and then a little surprise. So, let's talk about all the different ways to spot counterfeits. And I'm going to start with this binder, which was actually the binder that tipped me off to start looking more closely at both of these binders that were in this one sale. And it was actually this specific card that was the first one to tip me off. And I'm sure those of you who are well experienced with counterfeit cards can see all kinds of things wrong with it just right off the bat. But the most obvious thing was actually right here, focus, right down there in the corner. And it's the number. It's got the wrong number. So this is numbered the same as the regular version of the card, not the rainbow version of the card. And because it was numbered and off, I immediately got suspicious. And that was when I started looking at all of the different things you could do to identify when a Pokemon card is in fact fake. So, this being the first one, let's christen it. Let's grab another card. So another dead giveaway on these cards is that they simply don't feel like a regular Pokemon card. You know, regular Pokemon cards have a pretty distinct texture, and these are almost always much smoother and just feel off. So if you've handled enough Pokemon cards, you should be able to tell just by touching it that something is wrong. Another great way to tell that a card is fake is the texture. And these fake cards always have the wrong texture. What you can do looking online is you can find high-res photos of the textures on pretty much every, particularly these full art cards, and what it's supposed to feel like. And it's not this smooth, hollow effect. It's also usually got a different holographic pattern. And again, if you just find a good photo, which is easy enough to do, you can almost always do a side-by-side comparison to tell if this card isn't the way it's supposed to be. But another dead giveaway on fake cards is that the back coloring is almost always off. And in fact, let me just grab there. We've got a fresh pack of Paldea Evolved. We'll open up and we'll do some comparison. See if we get anything cool. Hey, Pikachu Reverse Ooh. Clobberjaw EX, we'll take it. And actually, Clobberjaw EX gives me a good opportunity to show you, see on this, how there is this slight pattern in the hollow as kind of a texturing. That's what was missing on those other cards. But let's just take this regular card, and you can see the fake card, the colors are all wrong. The blue border is washed out, the printing is washed out, even the yellow in the Pokemon isn't quite correct. But if you want to really start looking at these close, the best thing you can do is invest in something to magnify the image. I normally just use a little, what they call a jeweler's loupe, which is kind of a little handheld magnifier, but you can't see it on camera. You can, however, see this wonderful magnified screen on camera, right? So here was our real Pokemon card again. And if you look in the printing, you know, it does not show up as well on the screen as I had hoped. Let's see if we can zoom in a little more. Oh, there we go. Just adjust the focus some. You can see all the little stippling and shading inside, particularly the hole on the P. And yes, everyone makes the same joke. But on the fake cards, if you look at that same spot, the shading is not the same. It's not even there. So again, here's the fake card. There's the real card. Fake card, real card. And just that little tiny bit of shading is a dead giveaway, besides the lack of the texture and everything else wrong with this Ditto, that this Ditto is fake. Again, no texture, colors on the back are off in a completely different way, still feels wrong. And these are actually, they're decent fakes. I have certainly seen worse, and in fact, we will see some worse in this very batch. But really, the only thing that needs to happen with fake cards is to go directly into the shredder, because it does the whole hobby a disservice to have this stuff floating around. Now, of course, not every card you're going to buy is a raw card. So as we continue to shred these guys, let's talk about trying to spot fake packs. Grab another fresh pack. Fresh packs have a pretty distinctive crimp pattern, a pretty distinctive edge that is straight. And so some of the quick dead giveaways on fake packs are packs that have this jagged edge, like a Topps Heritage Baseball 2022. Those are not real Pokemon packs. Pokemon packs have straight edges. If the crimping looks different, that's a sign that a pack is fake. Booster boxes, the fake ones often have the cards oriented the wrong direction. And in fact, that was something I pointed out in the Instagram videos of these fake booster boxes that I ended up getting sent earlier this year. See, here's an even different fake back. So where do these fake cards come from? Well, they are coming from Chinese manufacturers, typically being sold on, marketplaces like AliExpress. But then sometimes you have somebody parking a bunch of these fake cards as a third-party seller on Amazon or on Walmart. So really, you have to exercise caution no matter where you are buying stuff from. And particularly if you're spending the money on high-end singles, and nothing in this binder is that high-end, you definitely want to make sure you're taking the time to look at the cards and make sure they're legit. Or if you're not confident in your own ability to do so, find somebody who is. There are plenty of people out there who are more than willing to look at a card for you if you just ask. In fact, at the last NCX card show, I had a guy come up and ask, "Hey, somebody just gave me this card. Does it look real to you?" And I looked at it, using some of these same techniques that we just looked at here, and it's like, yep, this card is completely fake. If you're buying graded cards, unfortunately, you are not totally safe either. There are fake slabs for just about every grading company. I don't know that I've seen any fake tag slabs yet, but there are lots of fake PSA slabs. There are fake Beckett slabs. I would assume there are probably at this point fake CGC slabs as well. I would assume there are fake SGC slabs, but don't know that I've seen one posted anywhere. On those, once again, you start looking for certain telltale signs, and there are great guides out there about authenticating your PSA cards. I will say at the top of the list there, the font on the label itself is often the biggest dead giveaway. So you're probably asking yourself, if you know how to spot fake cards, how is it that you ended up with the different fake cards that you are now shredding? And in my case, one was just not taking enough time to carefully inspect the pictures that were posted with this. But two, all the pictures were of the cards in these binders. And the binder film, I guess is what you want to call it, obscures the ability to see the front of the card, and you don't see the backs of the cards because it was just photo like this, photo like this, photo like this. And for what I paid for it, it wasn't that expensive. It was just in a lot with a bunch of other stuff that was in a big estate sale online. And so I didn't really think twice about it. But this seller had very cleverly kind of sunk it in there with all that other stuff. And I was a little careless. But, thankfully, in this case, my credit card company had my back. And they were fully supportive of the idea of destroying every single one of these counterfeit cards, because the other thing that is important to point out is it is actually against the law to trade in counterfeit goods. We have those kinds of laws for a reason. We don't want people trading in counterfeit goods, not just for the protection of the authentic goods seller, but also for the protection of consumers. I mean, think about all the different counterfeit things out there and see, like, the Lugia V should have been a dead giveaway that there was not going to be a real Lugia V in here, if that was even in the photos, because I don't think the photos included every page in this binder or the other binder. This one was also interesting because the shipping was so delayed that by the time I was able to get the items and actually try and figure out what was going on with these, I was almost out of time to even contest it with my credit card, which is also a tactic commonly used by scammers, is to run the clock. Because you may or may not know that with most credit card companies, and this may be federal law, I'm not entirely sure, you've got 90 days to contest a purchase, and that's it. So if for whatever reason they string you along and get you past the 90-day mark, then you can't even do a chargeback. You're just out of time. So, be a careful consumer. I mean, obviously, things that seem too good to be true usually are. That's always something to go by, but with the number of videos we've seen of people trying to get scammed at different card shows and through Facebook Marketplace and through all these other things, be sure to take every possible protection you can, whether that's using a payment method that you can later contest. See, like these don't even all look the same. And not one of them matches the real card. You know, if you're doing business online, doing something like using PayPal goods and services, as opposed to just sending somebody something on Venmo and hoping it all turns out okay. You know, unfortunately, particularly when the market is hot, that's when all the scammers come out of the woodwork looking for an opportunity to cash in. So, take it from me and be careful who and where you are buying your cards from to make sure they are authentic. And if you run across fake cards, honestly, do the right thing and shred them. And the hollows again, all completely wrong. Wow, this is a really poor quality fake. I mean, look at how the borders don't seem to even be close to the right size, and they're really crooked. This card just feels like I don't even know how to describe it. It almost feels like real paper, like regular old paper. Cardstock, I guess would be the correct term. So very, very many different kinds of fakes. And they're all a little different. All right, that does it for this binder. See if there's anything worth spotting real quick in this one. And you can see it's more, I mean, I'm guessing these are even fake. Oh yeah, that feels awful. Oh, that may actually be a real card. So I guess I may have to more closely investigate all the ones in here. My guess is all of these fancy ones up front are fake because they look super fake. Oh yeah, that is super duper fake. Although they're in real sleeves, so like, what is this even? Very, very fake. More very fake. The other thing you can, of course, always run into is some people just decided they wanted to start flipping cards and don't even know enough to know that the cards that they're flipping are fake. So, you know, it is possible to run into people who just haven't dealt with enough to know any better yet. So I don't know that you should assume everyone selling a fake Pokemon card is trying to scam you. And for that matter, you know, if it's one card in like a huge bunch that just ends up being fake. See, this one's real. You just never know. So yeah, I will have to actually spend time going through this to see if there's anything worthwhile in it. There's an error card. But yeah, for the most part, that little binder was all fakes. This one may have some legitimate, but not in any particular rarity cards. In any case, I think we've gone on long enough for today talking about fake Pokemon cards. Thanks for being mundane with us. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Okay, not quite over yet. Me from the future now. There were a very small number of real cards mixed into this binder. Nothing of any particularly exceptional value, of course. And there were also a whole bunch of very real energy cards taking up the latter half or so. But yeah, lots more fakes, lots more in the shredder. But I guess there was some real cards in there, which would explain having some real sleeves from real ETBs. But yeah, there you go. For those of you wanting the tidy conclusion, one page. The end.